For M142, you have to root your Android Studio emulator. And this is a fairly involved process. Now, this is what you'd have to do if you had a real Android phone. If an Android phone, you are not root user. You have limited privileges, which is by design, and you have to modify it to get root privileges. And this is rooting, they call it rooting or jailbreaking, this sort of thing. And you normally use a hacking tool to do it. And the problem with hacking tools is, of course, they're unreliable, they're unofficial, and this particular hacking tool has stopped working. My Windows users last week were not able to do this anymore. I can do it on a Mac, but I can't do it on Windows. And I found a solution for that. So I'm just going to describe this one and then show you the other way, which is much easier, by the way. Here, so you have to use this hacking tool, you have to git clone the tool, which is called root avd. So you have to have git on your machine. Then you have to be able to run adb from the command line to be your device, and you can download it in Windows and run it, although it didn't work anymore recently. And then you have to run root adv with this long command ending in an image. And what it's going to do is it's going to take the virtual machine's RAM and it's going to patch it to add a program in RAM. Now, this is because virtual machines, everything is on your hard drive. The virtual hard drive is a file, the virtual RAM is a file. So this RAM disk.image, it patches the RAM to put the code in memory. Then when you reboot your phone, it finds the application running in memory. That's a way to get an application on there without going through normal installation. But it's complicated and it's a hack, and it doesn't always work. So you run this thing, it shuts down your phone, you cold boot the phone, and now you cold boot here by clicking the three dots at the right of the device manager line and going to cold boot. And then you will find an app called Magisk. Although, as I mentioned last week, Windows phones do not get the Magisk app, and they can't do this process. Let me see. Yeah, you can't run these projects in a virtual machine. That would be 2 layers of virtualization, and that usually doesn't work. Anyway, so then you install this thing. You open this thing and update it, and then you can now root the phone. And this is the way apps that root your phone tend to work. They want to give you some security. So if you download some other app and it tries to perform root access on your phone, it can't. So the way it works is you open a shell and try to run super user. In fact, I think my phone might already have this done to it. Let's see. Here's my phone. Okay, so let me open a shell. All right. All right, so okay. Now if you have ADB in the path, then you can type ADB and it will be found. And if you type ADB devices, it will find your emulator is attached. So now you can do ADB shell to get a command line on the Android phone, which is where I am. And if you do SU to be super user, I get a super user shell. Now, if it was the first time, Magisk would pop up a box asking for permission. It'll do this, and you have to agree within 10 seconds. And that's there so that if you download an app and the app is malicious and tries to hack your phone, you'll see this box. You won't get permission unless you agree to it, which is kind of nice. But you have to answer this within 10 seconds. And if you miss, then there's kind of an irritating process you have to go through, which is down here. So after that, you get root users, which is what I showed, and that's the goal of this. Now, if this doesn't work, or if you just prefer not to bother with this Magisk thing, you don't have to. That's why I just added another project this morning, M145, which is a much easier way to do this. What you do is you just install a version of Android device that is already rooted. And all you have to do is go through the same process in Android Studio, but when you create a device, choose hardware that doesn't have the Play Store. Like I used the 3A XL. And then choose a system image on the second tab that doesn't have Google API. This is what happens. See, Google, there are Android devices for sale that are already rooted and that have all kinds of other modifications. And you can do anything to the Android image, and people do, but if you go too far away from Google's recommendations, they will not let you put Google services on it anymore. And if it's already rooted, Google won't let you do that. So that's what you're doing. You're loading the kind of Android that cannot use Google services because it's rooted. So if you, yeah,
In real life, most devices are not rooted, right?
what's that?
In real life.
In real life?
In real life.
In real life, yeah.
Most devices are not rooted.
That's right. Most devices are not rooted. But if you buy cheap Android devices, some of them are rooted. Some of them already have ADB on them. Some of them already have malware on them. And that's why Google has certain requirements that you can do anything with Android, but if you don't meet certain requirements, they won't let you put Google Play on it. There are hacks to put it on anyway. But yeah, that's right. So that's what, and if you do this, then you're done. You just start your emulator, and when you connect, you'll be able to get a shell right away. You'll be able to get an SU shell right away because it's already rooted. So this is a way to get a rooted device without having to do some sleazy hack. So that's an alternative. You could use that technique. After this, you'll have a rooted device. All right, stop this video.